of every country where the media is inviting you to a life after the fashion of Hollywood, etc. Every Tom, Dick and Harry can have access through television to that beautiful picture, bloated out of reality of life on earth, having all the pleasures at your doorsteps. And where are the means available to the people? If the fancies are excited, if the desires are worked up, and your inability to achieve creates a sense of helplessness in you, and when you're not armed with morality, what would you do but to become a mugger, a robber, a stealer, anything which would achieve you this, the purpose or the semblance of the purpose of having pleasure at others' cost. So pleasure is good, but you must also bring the question as to at what cost and at whose cost. The pleasure is only genuine and permissible when it is within your own self-territory, not at the cost of others' territory. But this is what is being done, and this is what is being tolerated, and that is against which we are launching a jihad, a holy war. And that is our understanding of holy war.
Peaceful.
We are at the same time launching a holy war against the so-called holy war advocated by the rest of the Muslim mainstreams. I don't call that a holy war, to take you the weapon and swords in your hand and to attempt to change the religions of other people. The swords can sever heads, but cannot convey the slightest idea into the head of anybody. The swords are beyond to a different realm. They belong to different dimensions. Human mind is to be achieved, to be reached through conviction, through persuasion, through love. And this is again our holy war against the misconceived concept of holy war prevailing among the Muslims of today. And that is why we are at the receiving end of that holy war. But we do not care. We do not afraid. Like the brave gentleman, the father of the Pakistan, he did not care a fig, should I say, as to what message people will receive from Pakistan when this ceremony or this convention is televised throughout the world, and even the Pakistanis will be watching it. He did not care because he is a man of principle. So are we. This is what we have in common. That is why we are being gravitated to each other more and more. So this is what we are doing in the world to not create the awareness, but to bring forth to the surface the awareness, which I believe is found in every human being today. I have traveled America far and wide, not only once, many a time. I came first in 1978 in my personal capacity. I met people at the grassroots level everywhere. The image of America which was created outside was not very attractive, because that was the image of American politics, American mafia, American pursuit of vain pleasures and so on. But when I came here, fortunately, and met the people at the grassroots level, I was indeed enamored by Americans. They're wonderful human beings, everywhere, and very sensible. They want to do good things, but they're helpless, powerless in the hands of the powerful media, which is taking the lead and creating the paths for them which they willy-nilly tread, despite the fact that they are aware that they are not content with that pursuit. So this is again an awareness we are trying to awaken. But I tell you honestly, as I have just explained, I find man to be a good thing. Deep inside, we know what is good and what is wrong. It is for somebody to raise the voice and to persuade and to go on speaking out for the sake of good values, so that gradually other people catch up the voice and this becomes a chorus to be heard around and allowed across the borders of the countries. I hope, and this is what I would say in the end, that Americans do take this message, do join this voice. God bless you.
One question that has been
Would you read it, please? Yes. Oh, that's right.
There's been a question that has been sent to the podium by Mr. R. Jin. He says, Huzur, can you communicate with God? If yes, can you do it whenever you want, and how?
Now, this is a very interesting question, but it has to be corrected, because everyone on earth can communicate with God. Even the inanimates have a manner of communicating with God, because the Holy Quran says that. The Holy Quran claims that those you believe are without life. Everything has its manner of communicating with God and praising Him, whether you understand it or do not. But so far, man's knowledge has reached to the level of plant life, which was considered to be without any consciousness and awareness. But the modern studies have revealed that even plants can feel and express. Only you have to understand the language. So the further studies in future would ultimately lead you to understand that every form of existence has a way of communication with God. But perhaps the questioner wanted to ask me if I can decide the moment when God should communicate with me. Most certainly not. No man on earth, however big he may consider himself, and if he considers himself to be big enough, is the smallest man on earth, to be able to make God communicate with him. We are beggars, we are humble servants. I pray, and many a time my prayer is heard, in words, in visions or in dreams. And when these moments come, I consider myself humbler than before. Because I tell you honestly, in all truth, I am ashamed of myself when God bestows a favor on me, because I know better than anybody among you or anybody else that I do not deserve those favors. But such are the ways of Allah. Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the founder of Islam, once said a thing of beauty which can't be surpassed by any other such expression in this regard. He said, if God looked at the weaknesses of His creatures and His creation, He would sever His ties with everything He created. But God chooses to look at the beauties of what He has created. And none of His creation is without beauty. So it is God in His mercy who chooses to look at something which He has granted me. Otherwise, if He had chosen to look at my drawbacks and follies and failures, I am quite certain He would never communicate with me. But He does, and is in His grace, and the choice is His and not mine. Thank you. Could I have some hot water? It is slightly warm. I would like it to be really hot. Water, but hot.